Good afternoon, and welcome to an edition of Fort Wayne Up Close. I'm your host, JJ Foster, and it is my special pleasure today to introduce you guys. Some of you may not know he's been gone a while, but he is definitely a Fort Wayne legend. It is my honor, my privilege to get to sit down with a friend. I call him family, but Mr. Rod Woodson.
What's going on, JJ?
You, man,
John.
I knew that was coming up.
It came up on my phone, John. I said, John? His name John? Oh, hey, his name is John? So everybody can call you John.
John, hey, that's my government.
That's your government name.
That's my government. Man, just to give you an idea, we bring people on here, try to be inspiration to our community. We talk sports, we talk politics, we talk a lot of stuff about uplifting Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
You probably one of the best testaments to any athlete that has ever left Fort Wayne. One of the things I always appreciated about you, you never turned your back on Fort Wayne. You always back here, was always doing something. Can you speak to that?
Well, I mean, giving back to what I didn't have when I was a kid, right? I didn't go to any football camps. There was no camps in Fort Wayne. There wasn't nobody coming back, giving back to having camps for the kids. So, growing up and, having my opportunity to be blessed to play in the National Football League for 17 years, probably going into my fourth or fifth year, I was like, I got to do something back with the camps, come back to Fort Wayne and give back to the kids. We had those, as I was playing, we did camps for, 14, 15 straight years over at Snyder. And then my kids got to the age where I started coaching them, so I couldn't come back all the time. But to give back to the kids and let them have an opportunity to see that each one of the kids has a greatness inside of them. My foundation is Hope Through Football. Our motto is I Can, I Will. So we try to get kids to see that each one of them has a greatness that lies inside of them. Each one of them is different. But the main thing is that each one of those kids have to believe the person they see in the mirror. Right? If they can do that, that's our key. So hopefully one of us coaches plants a seed to the kid, then some other coach or parent or somebody else around the community waters that seed over the course of time, and then hopefully they come to harvest, from a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, you never know. So, that's the main reason that, I keep coming back to giving these kids hope that they can make it, they can be in anything they want to be.
Okay, that's awesome. Sound like you got a formula the way you just broke that down. That was smooth. But hey, when you talk about your camp too at the height, because another way you can give hope, man, you put Fort Wayne on the map. You brought big stars wanting to come back here to Fort Wayne. And I think back on it, but getting ready for this interview, outside of I think back to you and Walter Jordan, when you talk about, big names, guys at the height of their careers coming here, and not just for the celebrity aspect, but to do what you're talking about, teaching people in our community, the skills of the game.
Right. One of our key models is for the kids. It ain't for me. It ain't for nobody else. I don't care. It's for the kids. And anything that we could do to give back to the kids is show the kids hope. We got a lot of athletes that come through here is playing in the National Football League today. My ultimate goal is to have every single one of those athletes come back and have a camp. And every single one of those athletes who played in the National Football League for how many years, that every single kid can see them, because it's about 15 of us.
Yeah.
And every single kid, they can see that, they can see the faces, and they can see, hey, you know what, if I want to be a baseball player, a football player, whatever it might be, a doctor, I can do it because I'm from Fort Wayne and these guys had success. So my ultimate dream is still there, so I'm still kicking down those doors. Okay. Those guys hear me.
That's what I was gonna say. Uncle Rod is talking. Y'all heard that? Rod Smith, Jalen Smith, Jesse Bates.
Rod's coming back this year. Jesse, you hear us?
Yeah. We call it names.
I know you in town too right now, Jesse.
Good. Y'all heard that. I appreciate that. I love that. Now, the other thing, again, your words, hey, everything that you just said, but your actions. 17 years in the National Football League. And everybody knows, that acronym stands for not for long. You put together a 17-year career. Man, what kind of mental prep, physical prep, How did you get yourself ready for 17 years to answer that bell?
Well, I mean, honestly, I was blessed. I was blessed to go to Pittsburgh when I did. Their motto is the standard is the standard. Either adhere to the standard or you're not there that long. And I had some really good mentors when I first got there. And Donnie Shell, who's a Hall of Fame defensive back. Mean Joe Green was coaching there. Chuck Noll was still there. John Stallworth was still playing. Mike Webster was still playing. So all those old heads, because I came in thinking I was all that in a bag of chips, right? And they got to sit me down and say, hey, you can be that, but you're gonna have to work on the off season. I remember Chuck Noll told me the game is a simple game, but it's not easy to play at a high level on a consistent basis. And how can you outwork the next person? Because everybody's working, but how can you outwork the next person? Because we didn't have OTAs and off-season workouts and all that stuff when I first came in the league, so we had to do it on our own. But then I was blessed with a guy named Cornell Lake, who came in 2 years later, and that dude, he was a workout beast. I mean, all he did, because my first year working out was go to North Park, get my little 3 clubs, hit the ball, jog down, get the ball. I would do that all off season. And then Carnell came in, and we started working out. We started getting up at 6 in the morning, going swimming, had a swim workout. From the swim workout, we went to Carnegie Mellon to the track. Went from the track, went to the stadium to lift. From the stadium inside, we went outside to the field. So we was there I was up from 6 o'clock. I didn't get home till about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. And I did that every day for 14 straight years after that. So, I was blessed to be there. And then I was blessed I did humble myself to listen to my coaches. And, I had another great coach named Rod Rust, who taught me how to study film. He challenged me as a man, very similar to what Tony Dungy did. But Tony, he ain't gonna raise his voice. He's not gonna cuss at you. Well, Rod said the exact same thing, but he was MFing me while he was saying it. And he challenged me as a man.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well then teach me how to watch film. And he taught me. And as soon as it was me and him in the room for about 5.5 weeks, and that green light clicked on. I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding. That's all they do? Yeah. He's like, that's all they do. You just got to believe it when you see it. I said, oh, I ain't worried about that one. I'm going to believe it. I'm going to jump routes. And, I went to 7 straight Pro Bowls after that at playing corner.
Wow.
And then I had my injury, but then, it was just the fact that he gave that to me. And I had people in my life who I needed in my life when I needed them, right? I needed Tony when I first came in because Tony didn't yell at you. He didn't raise his voice. He loved on me. And then I needed Rod Rust in my life. And then I needed Dick LeBeau, who came after that. And Dick LeBeau was a great player because he was a Hall of Fame defensive back for the Detroit Lions back in his day when Night Train and Lem Barney was playing, all those guys. And then, I had Bill Cowher. So, I had so many really great coaches who kind of loved on me and knew I could be good. And you just never know how good you can be. So, taking that life lesson that I got from Tony, but then from Rod, and applying that back on the field on a daily basis through practices and all that stuff, and then just working out and having blessing that Cornell Lake came in because Cornell made me work out. It was just a blessing. Did that make me play 17 years? No, because everybody works out. You don't play that long. But I was also fortunate that I didn't get a bunch of major injuries when I first started playing. But just blessed to keep on chucking in and keep on trying to be a leader I wasn't a front of the huddle leader. I was a leader kind of from the back from really as my peers, like, come on, man, don't do that. You're too good to be doing that. So, as, just talking to the guys, being there for them on a daily basis. And we kind of grew up together. Carnell and I played 8 years together. Me and Larry Griffin, we played about 4 years together. DJ Johnson, we played about 6 together. So being all those, Greg Lloyd, we played 10 together. So all those guys that I've made friendships with, still talk to today. Matter of fact, in another 2.5 more weeks, I'll be going down to North Carolina, playing a big old golf tournament with all those guys, about 20 of us.
Okay. And that's funny. Everybody you name, when you had your camp, you brought them back. They was adopted Fort Wayne people. They knew more people in Fort Wayne than I did, but they was right there with you.
Yeah, bringing my guys back, especially when the camps, especially when we did the high school camp with those guys, everybody wants to see it. Then we had the basketball game.
Yeah.
That was a blast. That was fun. The camps that we do now is more just for the younger kids that we can get them in, and hopefully they can plant that seed and find their uniqueness in life. But we had a good time coming through here, and all the guys still talk about coming through Fort Wayne.
Yeah, man, I can remember. Hey, we'd be at Super Bowls, and it'd be guys. Hey, man, when the camp dates? When we go to Fort Wayne, they'd rather go to Fort Wayne than Las Vegas. That's how much. Yeah, I used to always laugh at that.
Yeah.
But hey, one of the things that you said, or a couple of things that you said that I'm gonna pick up on and tie. We have a Respect the Game podcast, so we talk about young athletes and things that are going on out there. With today's athletes. I just heard you mention working out. Having somebody that's gonna push you. You mentioned all your different coaches and the guys that's been in your life. You didn't sit out here and talk about what I did, me. Everything you did, or you just said you brought in somebody else and talked about the importance of them, and you put that time in and that work. Right now we have a lot of athletes that are good at the high school level, and that work piece in there, or they got somebody, the parent, the trainer might know more than the coach.
Right.
They're not coachable. Here you are, 17 years in the league, a Hall of Famer, and I ain't even touch on that. Not only you HOF after your name, where some of them guys, you mentioned Donnie Shell and Mean Joe Green, all these guys that we grew up as kids watching, you got your gold jacket, you in the rooms with them. I think that speaks to, your humbleness. As you say, you had to humble yourself. But how do you see like today's athlete, versus what you just described?
Well, I hate saying it because I do respect them because they are athletes. They don't have that same hunger. Some do. There's a handful of them that really do. But it's that hunger to be great, because they think greatness comes along with the paycheck. That's not true. I don't know what that is. Somebody dinging me on my phone. But anyway, the greatness doesn't come with a paycheck. That's just from us suing the league, getting free agency in 1991, right? We decertified, sued them. Now the league is now so big, they make so much money, so much revenue. Players get 33% of the GDR from the TV revenues and all that stuff, and then each individual team keeps their own ticket sales and all that stuff. But there's so much money, and these guys are making so much money, and they think greatness comes with the paycheck, and that's not a true statement, because there's great players who played back in the 50s who some of their checks bounced, right? They would take it in. They were the 15th person going into the bank. Those checks weren't making it.
Wow.
Right? So, and there were some great players who played in that era. So you can't say that greatness comes with the paycheck, but I think greatness comes with fulfilling your full potential. And the only way you can do that is you got to put money in the bank, in a sense, and that money's in the bank and not physical money, but it's that work, that sweat equity. Right? You got to put that in the bank. So, and you want to pull it out. When do you pull it out? You pull it out on game day. But you can't pull it out if you don't put it in.
There you go.
That's what I always relate that to the kids, because kids can relate to money nowadays. So I'm like, okay, if you don't put money in the bank, you want to get, a Snicker bar, you ain't getting one because you don't got no money. So you got to put that money in the bank on a daily. It can't be once. It has to be daily. You got to outwork. It's thousands of kids who are great athletes who want to play, and their dream is to play in professional sports, right? Whatever sport that may be. But there's thousands and millions of them, and 1% of 1% plays in the pros. So how do you make yourself that 1%?
There you go. Now, here's another topic that we address in with today's modern athlete, because you just said, how do you make yourself better than that 1%? So you're going to have kids out there, you got athletes that say, I need to specialize. I need to just do this sport because just what you just said, I got to be in that 1%. You was all SAC in every sport. So how do you feel about playing multiple sports coming up at the high school level?
I'm not a fan of specializing. You don't fire all your muscle groupings. So what I did in football is different than track. was different than basketball. All you fire different muscles in different sports. And as I trained in those sports, each one of those sports helped me in the other ones. If I never ran track, so you can't be fast unless you run fast. Mm-hmm. So you can do all that CrossFit training and ladders and all that stuff, but if you ain't on a daily, you can't be the fastest you can be. So, I always tell kids, like, I get the new modern era, and everybody has trainers and everybody wants to specialize, and more of the specialization is coming from the coaches. Yeah. The youth coaches want it. You got to be here. If you're not here, you ain't playing. That's unfair to the kid. It's unfair to the kids. You don't care about the kids. All you care is care about yourself. Where when I grew up, coaches knew everybody was going to play multiple sports. They was good with it. I'm not going to be in summer programs. And we didn't have all these summer programs all year long, training all year long. I was doing different things throughout the year. But nowadays, these coaches are more looking in the mirror at themselves, saying, how can I have a better record? That record is going to make me a better legend in my community. But at the end of the day, does that really help each kid? No, it doesn't, because each kid now is like, okay, I only can do this because my coach wants me to be here. If I'm not here, I can't play, even though he might be the best player or could possibly be the best player on the team. They're willing to sacrifice that and let the kid not play because he didn't come to summer workouts. I think that, to me, is not caring about the kid. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about giving these kids the best opportunity to be the best individual player that they can be daily. And sometimes it is doing different things, doing things you never thought about really doing, and firing these different muscle groupings. So to me, I really believe wholeheartedly, living in up north, north of Mississippi, where you got to play multiple sports, because I can't play football all year long. So that it helped me become the best player I could be in football.
Yeah, well, I'm here to tell you now, even they up north of Mississippi, they're playing football year round. They got these indoor facilities and training.
Yeah, I know they are.
And I'm glad for your message. See, now I won't have to call you and let y'all know, hey, everybody heard that. There's a Hall of Famer, 17 years in the NFL. And I had you on speed dial, Trey Essex, Charlie Ward, all these high-level multiple sports guys, because these were conversations that I was having with people. Right. I'm just going to focus on football, so I'm not going to play. Guys don't run track anymore. I can remember, man, I went to a track meet some years back. It was like when Elmhurst was still open. Elmhurst and Southside was going to play. Right. I went to the basketball game of the year. Guys jumping out the gym, high flyers. I said, ooh, I can't wait. They was going to run track against each other. I went out there. Wasn't no athletes out there. It looked like a gym class. Right. None of the guys ran track. Yeah. And I said, man, this wasn't the era from what we were raised.
No. I mean, everybody on our football team either wrestled or ran track.
Yeah.
I mean, we had some runners, and we could roll. We get on the track, we rolling. And the one thing I think, was most coaches don't really emphasize, they talk about speed. We need speed. Then they go to a speed trainer, and they're doing A skips, B skips, C skips. They're doing all those different things that you can do on a track, and they do speed burst. Right, so they speed to power in the lifting, which is good, and it is. But if you ain't running 150s, 2s, 3s, 4s, ladders, man, it's not the same. So they can say all that stuff that they want to, and it does help some kids. Yes, they will fire certain muscles. They will get a little bit faster. But to be the fastest you can possibly be, you got to get on that track. And you don't have to run per se in the track meets all the time, but you can practice with the track team. It teaches you the muscles that fire during track practice is a completely different muscle that fires in football practice.
Yeah, I'm a comment on that. I had some guys that did just like you said, just go out there and just practice with them. But what I found out, they were just kind of going through the motion, and I thought about it, because even if you run, it's that competitive side, and you might not be the best in track. But it teaches you something. You go out there. I ran track during track season. Right. I didn't do, all the summer track and stuff. So I knew, some guys is going to be ahead of me, but I still went out there and gave it my all. I had a couple of my basketball guys. That's it. They went out there. The guy told the coach, I'm just going to go through practice. And I said, no, man, you need to get out there, humble yourself a little bit
Right.
and dig down. But, getting to run is one thing. Then now, even to get them to compete, is
The
man,
one
be a
the one thing
competitor.
about track is a team sport, but they got 8 individual lanes for a reason. You get to run against your boy.
Yeah.
You get to beat your boy, right?
Yeah.
And then team sports, even though basketball you got to play together, right?
Yeah.
But you can have one major guy. Football you have to play together.
Yeah.
All 11 guys have to be on the same page. They got to be in sync. But in track, the one thing I loved about track, yes, it was a team sport, but it was individual too. Because I got to run against all my guys and let my guys know, yeah, I got y'all. And I'm going to keep getting y'all until y'all get faster. Right. So that was, that's one thing I love, because track was my first love.
Yeah.
And then I kind of grew into football over the course of time. Heck, my junior year, I think I was, I don't mention all state. Maybe I was all state. I wasn't all American. And then I hit my senior year, I become all American. But I was an all American in track already. So I knew I was going to go to college to at least run track.
Yeah.
And then I just got a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, a little stronger on the football field. And unfortunately for me, is that, once I became a professional, I couldn't get my amateur status back in track and field. Not until 92 when they had the dream team and they got the amateur status. Now everybody can be a pro and get paid and still go to the Olympics.
Yeah, ain't that something? But you were at college, ran track, played football. Now here's another thing, and I know you almost quit in high school because you wanted to play on the offensive side and they didn't let you. So one of the greatest college football games or greatest performances in college football, that Purdue versus IU game, where you did it all.
I got to play both ways.
You played both ways. Man, speak to that day. And the reason we are in Fort Wayne, we in Indiana, so I mean, there's people still talk about that. That's Purdue, that's the rivalry, and you clown.
Yeah, I started because I did play both ways in high school, and then got to Purdue. They're like, okay, you're gonna play safety. I'm like, okay, I'm good. I said, but I can play other positions. I said that from day one. Like, I can be a help you receiver. I can play running back. They're like, no, you just learn safety. And I'm like, okay, Leon Burnett was the head coach. And then we were 3 years into it. My junior year, they started letting me play a little receiver. And then my senior year, I think Leon realized he's not coming back. He's like, you want to play both ways? I'm like, man, I've been saying that for 4 years. I want to play, yes. And I got to play a little receiver, a little running back here and there. But that last game, he was like, how much you want to play? I was like, I don't want to come out. I'm good. Like, you just, I'm not on the field goal team, so I won't be on that field. I won't be on the field. But let's have some fun. And I enjoyed it. It was a fun game to be a part of.
Yeah, man, that was like watching the movie. Everything. Hey, they calling your name, both sides of the ball. You did it all. Did you sell any popcorn that day?
Man, it felt like it. It felt like it. That was the first time after the game I gave my first autograph.
What?
Yeah, a little kid was walking off. He was like, can you sign my shoe? Man, I think it took me about 30 minutes to sign that shoe. I was like, it's so legible. It's like, right, you read the whole thing. Now, heck, I can't even read my writing anymore.
That's funny. I want to you out there, young man. Hey, if you got them shoes, hey, we want to meet you. I got lunch for you if you out there. Hey, talk to me. Look, going into the Hall of Fame. I mean, again, like I said, you talk about guys that you grew up watching on TV to now you out there in the same room, whether you're in that company with them. How speak to being a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't play football to become a Hall of Famer. I just played to, get to college, played in college, enjoyed the game, loved being around my guys, being in the locker room with guys. Probably about middle of my sophomore year, one of my coaches came up to me and said, hey, you're gonna get drafted. You're a tremendous athlete. Keep it up. Keep learning. Keep getting better. Never really thought about it, and never thought about it even when I was playing. What I was doing on the field, I just played with my guys, right? And played the 17 years. After the fifth year, it takes you 5 years before you can get in. I was working for the NFL Network. I think we were in Tampa for the Tampa Super Bowl. And I was walking over the bridge to go to work, and they called me, got a phone ring, and they was like, hey, the CEO for the Hall of Fame called me and said, you were inducted into the Hall of Fame. And then I get to the station where we're at, or at least the little made-up station we had in the Tampa Convention Center, and they had my whole family in the house. Everybody had the jerseys on. You know, I had to catch myself from crying. I'm like, man, you got to man up. Don't you start crying on TV, because I'm talking to wife, thanking my wife for everything she's done for me. But, it was just one of those things that I didn't start playing football to become a Hall of Fame. I just played football to be the best player I could be. And, like I said, I've been blessed to have so many great coaches and great players around me, but great mentors, and Eugene Parker. And, Gene was there for me through and through, calling me every week. Hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm doing good, but, I like to be doing better. I mean, I need some money. Now the NIL deals, these guys, they get all the money they need. I didn't have a dime in my pocket. So, I mean, I was blessed. I was, blessed to get into the Hall of Fame. But, when I went in, I was the 253rd player to go into the Hall in the history of football. And, I told him, I said, listen, I'm a country boy from Indiana, man. That's all I know. That's who I am. That's what I'm going to be until I die. I just live in Vegas because I can't do the cold weather anymore in the fall. But I was just blessed. I was blessed to get in, blessed to have so many great coaches around me, great players around me. And at the end of the day, it wasn't even about what I did. I try to give thanks to everybody to help me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that you do. You deflect and you give credit where credit is due. That's great. The guy that inducted you did your speech. That guy got a big head and whatnot, But again, that's Tracy, my brother. He actually read the speech, introduced Rod. But he's a guy like yourself. You guys been around some everybody, not starstruck guys. He was calling me, hey man, I'm up here sitting with Roger Staubach. Hey man, I did such and such. So the kid came out in him,
Right.
just being in that room. Hey, and again, we tying this back into Fort Wayne. And again, Tracy's been on this show and, has his own celebrity, his own right. How did you guys become friends? Talk about that relationship.
We met on the track. I mean, he said he ran. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, we met on the track, and then I followed him when he went to IU, even though he went to the wrong school. And then he went to UAB, and I still was following him when he went overseas. And then when he came back and he was working with Gene, one thing that Chuck Noll said to me every single year, hey, you got to get on with your life's work, and I became friends and befriended him really through Gene. When Gene was working, every time I would come back in town, I would talk to him. Doing the camps, we got to really know each other. And then I was like, man, who can I take? Who can I take that's probably be good in business, but it's a good friend that you can trust blindly, that can go to a dealer school for the car dealerships and kind of run it. And I thought about Tracy. I was like, he's one of those guys that I trust blindly. It's one of those friends that, my life here in Fort Wayne, I only talked to about 3 guys that, that was close to me on a daily basis or in a weekly basis from Fort Wayne still. And he's one of them. And so just building that trust up. And I said, if Eugene Parker can trust you, I can trust you. Because Gene was just my guy. Anything that Gene said, I took as gold.
Yeah.
We just built that friendship over the years through Gene, and then heck, now we talk probably once every couple of weeks or so, if not more than that.
Okay. And you done touched on it, but Eugene Parker, I mean, one of the best agents ever that's been out there, built his name nationally. But when you talk to people and they talk about Eugene, as great an agent as he was 10 times better a person.
Oh, he's a great man. Great man. I mean, he talked to me about, he was a man of faith, right? So he would always call me and go, how's your walk coming? I was like, yeah, well, I was talking to him, I hung up the phone, but, it's not the 24/7 yet. And then I remember when I gave myself over to Christ in in 19, God, what was it, 98 in Peter Bowere's basement. I called him the next day. I said, hey, man, I got something to tell you. 365, baby. 7-Eleven all day long. And but he was so happy for me. But that's who he was,
Yeah.
right? He wasn't beating you over the head with a Bible. He was just giving you love, giving you love, giving you love. He was a great human being. Unfortunately that he passed away years ago, but a great human being that everybody who talks about him, how great a man he was, don't even talk about him about being an agent and how great he was as an agent.
Yeah.
But because the person he was such a good man that, that's one of the other people I could trust blindly. That one thing I say today that he told me, I'll never lie for you and I'll never lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I use that still today. Every time I make a business deal, talking to business, anything, I meet somebody, I'm like, hey, don't ever lie to me. I'll never lie to you and I'll never lie for you. And I'm asking you never lie to me. And that's that's the one thing that he said to me that I'll never ever forget.
No, that's profound. That's life lessons right there. That's a good line to use. The other thing, man, that I noticed about you, and again, when I say I notice about you, comes from other people. All your coaches that you give them this credit to, when I look at, Bill Cowher, when he talk about Roderick Woodson, he light up. You Harbaugh, they mention you, and I watch, the interaction. Your peers, when they talk about, who you are. I don't know if you remember this, man. We was on the elevator one time again at the Super Bowl, and Deacon Jones got an elevator with us. His eyes lit up. He saw you. He said, man, do you know how many sacks I would have had with you back there at the corner? I mean,
the Deacon was crazy.
Crazy as heck. Hey, I got scared a little bit. I was looking at him, but he got excited seeing you and talking about how cold you were. But again, it's coming across your humbleness, man. Your peers, people play this game, and you just said it. You should be playing is about your peers and who you play for. And again, like I said, it speaks volumes. I see it. Did you ever have aspirations of being a coach? Because you didn't.
I did coach. I coached 4 years in the league, but and all 4 was with the Raiders, and I did a year with the XFL. And I just told, listen, God, if whatever door you need to close, you close it. That door is closed, then I go wherever you open up, it opens up. So, I enjoyed it. I don't enjoy the bureaucracy that comes with coaching. It's kind of a hierarchy. If they feel that you're a threat, that you want to move up, and they don't like that so much, especially from ex-players. There's not that many Hall of Famers that coach, or I don't think there's any that's coaching today in the National Football League. Dick LeBeau was one of them. Had a couple offensive linemen. Munchak, he was one of them. It's not that many guys who normally coach in the National Football League that becomes a Hall of Famer. And it seems like you're resented a little bit, but I enjoyed everything that I learned from all my coaches. I got to give that back to the guys. And that's what I really enjoyed. And I like to see not only what I can give back to them on the field, that I can give the little tidbits that Dick and Chuck and the chief, when I first got to Pittsburgh, the chief who, Art Rooney Sr., who purchased the Steelers, he was still around. So all the little things that he would say. So giving all that stuff is stored in me. So giving that back to the young players that I've played with, talking to them more about life lessons, how about being a good man, being a good father, being a good teammate. I got to give that stuff back. And that's one thing I really enjoyed about it. Do I miss it? No, not really. I miss giving that stuff back to him.
Gotcha.
But heck, I can just call him and give that to him on the phone.
Wow. So look, 17 years player. You've been in the booth. You done coached. What's the total number? How many years you get in professional football?
Heck, I'm still. I work for the Ravens now, so I've been calling their games for the last 3 years. So total played 17 for NFL Network. Heck, everything I've done, it's been through football. in some capacity. So since 1987, so I'm not good in math. What's 87 to 2024? Somebody give it to us. I say, look, you didn't go to math class either. I didn't go. I know I didn't go to math class. So.
Hey, that's what I was hoping you was gonna do. You see, I pass it on over there to you. That's all right.
It's been a long time though. It's been a long. Everything I have in my life, for the most part, has come through some form of fashion through ball.
Yeah.
Through football. And I'm very blessed. I say it all the time. I'm very humbled. Still working in the industry. Still working for the Ravens, which is a great organization. Before that, I was working for Westwood One, who did all the national radio broadcasts on either that Thursday night or Sunday night or Monday nights. I was doing that. So I've been very blessed to in some form or fashion, have my foot or toes touching the National Football League. And everything I do in my whole life is through ball.
Gotcha.
In some form or fashion.
Yeah. Hey, and again, we talk about sayings and slogans on Respect the Game. I tell people what I tell kids: don't let your sport use you, use your sport. And hey, that's exactly what you just described. I actually use you as an example, because another line I say is, what are you prepared to do when your ball goes flat? Mm-hmm. And I don't care. Some people's ball go flat in middle school, some high school, some might have 1 or 2 years in the league. You 17 years in the league. Heck of a statement. But at the end of the day, what was you prepared to do at the end of that 17?
Well, sports teaches us how to work in a team atmosphere. There's teams everywhere. Your family's a team. Mom and dad, who are they? They're the CEO, general manager, president, right? You are the employees as kids. Mm-hmm. I mean, every place has hierarchy in it, and you learn, but also you get to learn to play with different people who look different than you, who have different beliefs than you, come from a different social background than you, economic background than you. But when you step across whatever line that might be, whatever court, whatever field it might be, you play as one. And that's what teams can teach you. It can teach you how to be around different people. You're not always going to get along, but it can teach you how to maneuver through the corporate world and not stepping on toes. And I think if we let it, sometimes we don't let it because we get so prideful as human beings, but if you let it, sports can teach you how to work with each other that don't look like you, don't think like you. And as you grow, you would hope that your values change, get a little bit more humble about who you are and what you've done. And then you'll want to give back to what was given to you as a youth. And that's, to me, what I think life is about. All the stuff that I went through, from growing up biracial here in Indiana in the 60s and 70s and going through it all now. You know, you come here and there's more mixed kids that I see than the other kids that I see. It's like they're everywhere, right? They're like the baby kids. They're everywhere, right? Where when I grew up, man, it was rare.
Yeah,
it was rare to see a person of dual color anywhere. So, you know, seeing that stuff like that coming back to Fort Wayne, seeing that, you know, how it's grown, how everybody's together, and how, you know, Power Hamburger's still here. I know I had a little fire over there. I'm gonna still go give me some hamburgers, right? I go to Power Hamburgers in Coney Island.
There you go.
That's when I come back. That's my go-to places.
And hey, we're gonna wrap this up here shortly, but real quick, I know, hey, with the Steelers, you got to Super Bowl. Y'all fell short. You got to Super Bowl with the Raiders. Fell short. You finally got through. Got that ring with the Ravens. Heck of a ball club. Y'all probably put together one of the greatest defenses ever played this game. Yeah. Talk to me about getting that Super Bowl championship.
I mean, it's the pinnacle. It's pinnacle no matter where you play at, we lost in the state finals at Snyder, right? To Carmel. You want to be the best at what you do, and the way how are you the best? You got to win the championship. And for us in Pittsburgh, we got to one Super Bowl, lost in a championship game, lost in another championship game. Then I go to Baltimore. We win in Baltimore, and we had probably the best single defense in a given year in the history of football. We really did. I mean, we shattered the Bears' 86 scoring record. Yeah. That'll never be touched because of the rule change and all that stuff. And then I go to the Raiders. We go again, but we lose. So having that confetti fall and it's yours, it's your color. Shoot. And we blew the Giants out. So by late third quarter, we were talking about the ring sizes, what the ring's going to look like, asking Steve Busciotti and Mr. Modell, like what the ring's going to look like.
Yeah.
It is an ultimate goal for everybody. But my biggest accomplishment is getting into the Hall, because there's a Super Bowl winner every year. There's still only 365 guys in the Hall of Fame. That to me is more eye-opening, and I'm still humbled that country boy from Fort Wayne that had a fro living on Reynolds Street, went into the Hall of Fame. I'm still humbled by that.
Look, that's awesome. Look, you took my last question. That's what I was going to ask you. Super Bowl or Hall of Fame? You went right into it. Hey, answered it for me. Man, that's great. Rod, this has been really, really, really a great time sitting down to get to know you, letting people out there know you. These kids, they play the little video games. They can pull up and, watch YouTube.
They talk to me. They say, everybody know about Deion because Deion's still coaching, right? And I was like, Google me.
There you go.
It'll come up. It'll come up. If you play Madden, it'll come up. If they play Tecmo Bowl, it'll still come up. Yeah, yeah. It's an old game, though.
Man, hey, you know how many bets, how many drinks I get? Because I bet people, hey, who got the most interceptions returned for touchdowns in the NFL? Man, I have dudes arguing me up and down. Deion, Prime, Rod Woodson.
When you talk a lot and you wear jewelry and you got the sunglasses, and he was a baller, right? He was. He didn't tackle nobody, but he was a baller. You're out there in the limelight. I'm a quiet guy. I ain't gonna say a whole bunch.
Yeah.
To myself, to my family. So I don't have a problem with people always saying other people's names about who they think who's the best at anything or who has the most. I just tell them that all you gotta do is Google me. Mm-hmm. Then you can if you want to make an argument, that's fine. I'm not gonna argue with you about anything.
There you go. But I mean, it goes back to what I was talking about. Your peers, coaches, every one of them, you talk to them, they know Rod Woodson. But like you said, Deion had all the bells and whistles, fans talking. He gonna let you know how good he was, all that. You sit back, humble guy, just let you play, do your speaking. So,
I'm a blue collar football player.
You are.
Play with a hard hat. That's all I'm going. I'm gonna hit you in the mouth. I'm gonna help you up. I'm like Reggie White. I'll hit you in the mouth again. I help you up. I hit you in the mouth again. I help you up. Just keep on doing it.
Hey, there you go. But hey, man, like I said, truly been a pleasure.
No,
We're glad you came by and talked to us. You got your camp going on this week. You want to speak on that?
Yeah, I got the camp going on. We got 400 kids back at Snyder again. It's tomorrow, and I'm hoping it don't rain.
Okay.
Please, Lord, don't let it rain. We need to no rain. But for the next 2 days, and then we end of the day we get the kids some Kona ice for free, and families can come out, be out there, cheer on the kids, hang out a little bit, But we're gonna keep, long as guy has me walking and I can move around, I'm gonna keep on coming back to Fort Wayne doing the camp.
All right, man. Much appreciated, folks. Y'all done heard it. Great word, great message from a talent from right here out of Fort Wayne. Not just making an NFL. Like you said, our count is probably about 15 guys that's been in the NFL. Getting in the NFL is one thing. We talking about a gentleman who made it the pinnacle. 360 plus guys, I think he said it is. But in the Hall of Fame, right here out of Fort Wayne, played at Snyder, traveled some of these very paths that a lot of our student athletes are following right now. What he did, gave you a little recipe, a little formula, talked about the hard work, the respecting the coaches, humbling yourself, the perseverance, everything that goes into that. I hope we get a chance to listen to that. Take it, make it your own. Again, Rod, thank you for coming on. Until next time, we'll see you guys.